So now we're on our way to the kayaking, which means it's a great time to chat about a big time fight. We have the return of the XFL champ, Montserrat Conejo Ruiz. She's going to be taking on the former LFA champ, Jaqueline Amorim. And for Amorim, made that UFC debut, came in with a full head of steam, undefeated as an amateur, undefeated as a pro. And you're taking on a Sam Hughes. And we knew it was going to be one hit, one kill jiu-jitsu. We knew how good Amorim was, just like Jenna Bishop, who took on Santos in the last fight. But when you're talking about somebody like Jaqueline Amorim, I know you guys, you're going to want to hear a little bit from Matt Allen. He's missing. He's on his European vacation. They can make a National Lampoons about Matt Allen at this point. Let's throw it on over to the analysis of Amorim before that debut with Sam Hughes. You really want to talk about the nickname?
Do you know what this fight makes me think of, though? This fight to me is like that game Grounders when you're in elementary school. You know, you want to jump up on all the different equipment because someone's going to go, Grounders, then you hear, because there's some liar in the group who's like, I wasn't on the ground, because they jump on the slide, but we all know they were on the ground. My whole point is, though, this fight to me is like a game of Grounders intensified in an MMA cage, because you had kind of alluded to it in the intro. Our new UFC debutante over here is very dangerous off of her.
Jaqueline Amorim, and I'm going to throw it up there for her accolades in jiu-jitsu. She's a BJJ black belt under Faustino Neto, and I got some of this information from BJJ Heroes. You might have heard of BJJ Heroes, the most notable
big
of
website.
The websites, but you go down through it, that's the same coach that helped develop Carlos Diego Ferreira and one of Matt's favorite Brazilian Canadians, Bibiano Fernandes.
Wow.
He was able to do lots of great work down there. But if you go down and look at it, she then moved with her then husband up to South Carolina, started training out of Team Checkmate. You can see it in the picture right there. That is the gym that she represents. And then you consider it, Matt, third place 2017 IBJJF Worlds. In 2016, she was the second place in No-Gi Worlds. I mean, among other. Jaqueline Amorim was very, very, very accredited in not just regular gi jiu-jitsu, but no-gi as well. Switched gears and then became a professional mixed martial artist. She's finished all 6 of her wins, all of them inside of the first round, 5 of them by submission, in 4 different types of submission wins,
and that's the impressive thing to see. Like, I know I really like Damian Maia. I talk about his jiu-jitsu a lot, but Maia's a guy who you really think of with the rear naked choke, right? That was what he was always trying to build to on the ground. But for Amorim, it is really nice to see her fish for different types of submissions. And again, that's going to be very important in this matchup.
For Jaqueline, we haven't seen her out of the first round, and even in some of these fights, let's go down through them. Her fight at LFA 101, you go back that far against Taisha Gandhi, she was a minus 2,000 favorite.
It's a big favorite.
She had no head movement, ate every single jab, and then in 10 seconds goes all the way across the cage with her arms out, gets the takedown, and earns the submission win by a rear naked choke. Her next time out at LFA 110, she's taking on the first of 2 Canadians in her career, 34-year-old tricky fighter name of Megan Owen. And in that fight, she throws one left hook and knocks her out. And it's done really, really quick. So that's just a lot of fun.
Would you agree with me, though? I do think our foundational skills, although they don't make up for an amateur background or anything like that, they are an amount of experience that I think will help her in the UFC.
She doesn't throw any volume when she strikes. She doesn't move her head.
But that's fine. We've seen people like Melissa Gatto make it to the UFC and have success based on a deadly jiu-jitsu game facing primary wrestlers to take her down.
She was able to switch it up.
But I get that. She was able to switch it up later on in her career after long layoffs and stuff. I just mean, there are fighters out there who can win the first handful of fights just based on that foundational skill set. I'm not saying she's going to make it to the top 15 from this, but I do think that BJJ is lethal enough to get wins.
Amorim getting the belt the first time she tried for it. It was supposed to be at LFA 118. The quote is, unable to meet the sanctioning requirements from the California State Athletic Commission has been canceled. So they had to move her versus Loveth Young to LFA 125. In that fight, Amorim's able to get the takedown really easily. But when she goes to pick Young up, what does Young do? 2 hands in the cage. So referee John English, friend of the show, he takes a point, and ultimately Amorim's able to go out there, get it done, get the submission win, and then defending the belt against Nichols, 36-year-old Canadian, just taking on old Canadians.
they do nothing for the majority of the first round. And then as it goes on, you have Amorim that's able to really kind of scrap things out, getting that win out there once more.
So for Montserrat Conejo, it's been a little bit weird. We see how good Amorim is with the jiu-jitsu, but with Conejo, you don't really see a lot of success, you know, like she's had in MMA, let alone women's MMA. I mean, yeah, we saw scarf hold throws from Ronda Rousey, but she was so good at judo. For Conejo, that scarf hold to get the fighters down to the mat, that's just rarely ever seen. And we did see her do that to great effect against Cheyenne Bays or Cheyenne Vlismas at this point in their matchup. So you had a Conejo win there, but then it's been really, really weird. And we haven't seen her in some time. Now, her last time out, she took on Amanda Lemos. She's next in line for a title shot. And she got knocked out. She got knocked out 6 ways to Sunday. Chris Tognoni was not Ward Tognoni on that night. Conejo did pop right back up, but there were about 4 or 5 shots there where Lemos landed, and it was all she wrote. So Conejo now, she comes back into this one, and it's a big-time opportunity for her to get back in the win column. She's been off for a very long time. That last win was a very long time ago. And for Conejo, what you like to see is she's been working in the gym. She's been at Entram Gym in Tijuana. She's been a little bit at King's MMA in California. So good to see her still working around the gyms. But, you know, she is a pressure fighter. A 7-time national wrestling champ is Conejo. And again, she was a plus 400 against Lemos. She wasn't necessarily thought of as somebody who's going to win that matchup there. So when you do look at this one, Amorim with the jiu-jitsu, Conejo with a little bit of that wrestling. I'd really like to see who you guys are feeling in this matchup, because it's definitely not an easy one for Conejo, where I think she's a better striker than Amorim. Amorim's somebody that leaves her head on the center line, a little bit like an Amanda Hebos, where it's all pressure, boom, we're into the clinch, boom, we're into some of that wrestling. We'll see if Amorim's able to have that advantage, because as we said, that 1-round cardio, it does get tested quite a bit in fights like these. So it's going to be a really, really tough one for either fighter, a tough one to try and make a pick on. Matt Allen in this one, let's see who he's got in the fight. Matt Allen is feeling one Jaqueline Amorim to get the win, and Matt was with Sam Hughes getting ready for that last fight. I have Jaqueline Amorim in this fight as well, but this is Montserrat Conejo's fight to lose, so it does feel. Like to see what you guys are thinking about in this one. We get some big time matchups on the card. You are going to want to keep it locked in with Fight Night Picks, we always say. Let's get into it.